Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I am huddling in the warm because it's a very, very frosty morning. So everything, well not everything, but a lot of the things I had planned to do outside I can't do at the moment because the ground is too hard. So I thought I'd come in and make this video about the three things I have learned this growing season. I have been tagged to do this video by the lovely Richard from the Veg Grower Podcast and the lovely Monty from My Family Garden. Now I'm saying his name is Monty, that's actually, I don't think that is his name, that's just, when I was looking through the comments when I first started following him, everyone was calling him Monty, so I thought his name was Monty, but I have recently discovered that's not his name. So I'm very sorry Monty, but I'm going to continue calling you Monty unless you tell me otherwise. So those two channels are great channels. Please check them out if you haven't already. Richard from the Veg Grower Podcast, he has got a YouTube channel, but he focuses more on his podcast. And he brings out a podcast every Monday. And it tells you what he's been doing in his garden that week. And it's really good for jogging your memory. So for example, he might say, I've planted my broad beans out this week, or I've planted my overwintering peas this week. And I'll think, oh yeah, I need to do that. It doesn't mean you have to rush out and do it that minute, but it's just sort of like more on my radar to go and do it. And Monty's channel is great because he does a lot of cooking, and his family originate from Bangladesh, so he cooks and grows food that isn't necessarily native to our country, and it's really interesting to see what he's doing with his food and learning more about his culture. So I really enjoy those two channels. Like I said, please check them out. Moving on now to what I've learned this season. Well, I can tell you for one thing, I've learned not to plant 5 potato seeds in a 30-litre bucket because you get very small potatoes. But that's not the 3 things I've learned. I think number 1, I've learned to be more confident with my growing and to believe that it isn't just a fluke. I have a habit of planting loads and loads of plants because I keep thinking, well, if I don't grow them very well, at least I'll have a lot to pick from. But because I'm downsizing my space, I need to have more confidence in myself. So I'm going to be more selective with the seedlings I pick. I know, I'm not very good. I tend to try and give each plant a chance, but I have to be more ruthless and more selective. So instead of growing sort of like 20 lettuces, then I just need to grow 5, but I just need to successionally grow them. So that's one of the big things I've learned this season. Number 2 is if something isn't working, then change it. And I'm talking really about me giving up my allotment and growing in my front and back garden instead, as I'm slowly moving things back to my garden instead of my allotment. My allotment is just, it's too big for what I need, and therefore it takes up too much of my time, and my children are young, and I want to be able to keep on top of my veg growing, and now I've developed a love of growing flowers as well. I want to keep on top of it without it becoming a chore, or without me feeling like I'm sacrificing my time with my children to go over to the allotment. And since I have started putting in the beds in the front garden, Anwen has helped me, my little daughter has helped me a lot with planting, broad beans, and helping me put the soil into the beds, and she's really enjoying it and I'm really enjoying it. And when we were over the allotment, I'd only have a certain amount of time before the children would get tired of being over the allotment. And because my allotment was so big, there was an awful lot of nettles and things there. So I was never really quite comfortable with them running around in case they hurt themselves. Whereas at home, they can help me for as long as they want to help me, and then they can go off and do their own thing. So I think that's going to hopefully work out for the best. And the third thing I'm learning, or in the process of learning, is hot bin composting. Because for my birthday, I was very lucky to get a hot bin composter. So if you're not sure what a hot bin composter is, it's looking like that. And now I only had it a couple of days ago. So all I've really done is taken off the wrapping and checked that all the gubbins that are meant to be there are there. And I need to level the ground where it's going before I can start using it. But I've been reading all about it and how it works, and like everything, you know, when you start doing something new, it feels a bit daunting. And I'm kind of one of these people who I always want to get it right from the start. You know, I feel like I don't want to waste the time by getting the composting wrong, because it works slightly different from a normal compost heap. So I'll keep you updated with my progress on the hot bin composting. But in theory, it should compost down, the waste material should compost down within 30 days. So in 30 days, your compost is good enough for mulching. And then if you leave it for 90 days, it's then enriched and really good to fill your beds with. So because I'm downsizing, I've made my normal compost heap, if you would say, and now I've got this hot bin composter as well. So hopefully the two of them combined will give me enough compost to keep on top of mulching. And I don't think I'll have enough to fill all the beds, so I will have to buy in compost to get the initial beds filled. And then after that, hopefully I will produce enough compost to mulch the beds and to keep the beds topped up. So that is my plan for the winter, to get all that sorted. But I'm being somewhat thwarted because the weather's not been great, and that's hindered progress a little bit. But we will be where we will be. Hopefully I'll be able to pull it back and get all my beds and everything in by the start of spring, ready for the growing season. So I think that's my three, let's just check. Yep, that's my three things I've learned this season. And the three people I would like to nominate to do their three things they've learned this season is Stu from Petals on Paving Slabs. Stu has a great channel where he grows with his family. He's got an allotment and he also grows at home in his back garden. So I learn a fair amount from watching him. I'd like to nominate Georgia from my Homebird Farm UK, who I'll put links above, like the little arrow that will drop down, the little eye that will drop down, so you can just click on them and it should take you to their channel, and leave this one open as well. Yeah, Georgia from my Homebird Farm UK, she does a lot with birds, as in poultry. She has lots of variety of different birds, and she does grow a bit as well. So I enjoy watching her exploits as to what new birds she's got and how they're getting on. And lastly, I'd like to nominate Brian from Allotment Life. If you haven't checked out Brian's channel, he is really inspirational. About a year ago he lost his leg, and he's continued gardening. he just carries on with doing it. He's got a really good positive mental attitude. You know, he's just like, oh, let's just get stuck in. I need to rearrange this to work with my leg. And I don't think he's making videos at the moment because he's not very well, but hopefully when he comes back he can tell us some of the things he's learned this season. And if you haven't checked him out, that is Allotment Life. So that's me waffling, and that's my waffling done now. I'm gonna go and wrap up warm and have a little walk around the garden and see if I can summon the energy to do something in this really cold weather. Whereas what I really want to do is just sit inside and drink some tea. But anyway, that's it from me for today. Thank you for watching. I hope I haven't bored you too much. And next time I will show you something a bit more practical. Okay, thank you for watching, liking and subscribing. I've just said that. I'm gonna go now. Okay, thanks very much. All I can say about this video is it's been a waffly, lovely job.